Youth Homelessness Matters Day is a campaign aimed at raising awareness about youth homelessness.
It's about getting policymakers and MPs to listen and make a difference to young people who are the most marginalised in Australia.
It's just a day for recognising that that's something that we need to do, but honestly it's something that we need to do 365 days of the year.
I think there's a big misconception around the homelessness in general, and I think most people get really shocked when they learn that almost half of all the homeless people in this country are young people under 25.
It's important because it's not obvious, but it's still there, and it needs to be talked about so that something can be done about it.
Particularly because they're not a large voting cohort, they're not a large tax-paying cohort, they're not a cohort that often has a lot of voice and also doesn't have a lot of impact into where they're going. I think a large one is that their parents should kind of just be dealing with it, and frankly any of the young people that we were dealing with it, either their parents don't have the skills to support them or the family has broken down so severely from a number of reasons that those parents aren't able to, or the young person has identified that that's not a safe place for them to be, so staying in the family home is not an option.
The other misconception is that they're living on the street and they're rough sleepers, and that's true for some young people, but the majority will be couch surfing or staying in a tent or with friends or family.
One thing that's really important for me is the sheer number of homeless young people today completely outweighs the number of beds available to homeless young people. So even if they wanted to get off the streets, we still can't offer them a safe place to stay for the night.
I think people probably underestimate their capacity to make change.
Just donating to the services that do provide support. Funding is always an issue for human services, and it's one of the major things that sometimes limits us from being able to do the kind of things that we want to be doing.
Well, one thing that I always do when I provide outreach and walk the streets of Perth is at least acknowledge the individual, look them in the eye and give them a nod, even if you're not, talking to them or giving them anything, at least just acknowledging their presence. These young people feel like they're nobody and nobody cares about them, and a smile does carry a long way.
The thing that people can do to help support young homeless people is lobby their MPs to encourage them to talk about youth homelessness and the effects of it and what drives young people to be homeless.
Advocating for more youth homelessness services or more beds. I think there's 50 odd beds in the state for the thousands of young people.
The reason that I'm a youth worker with the Street Connect programme is that I get a lot of enjoyment out of working with young people I do.
Being a young person is a pretty critical time in someone's life, and I want to be walking with them to support them into a positive adult pathway.
What I enjoy about working with young people is that they're at the stage of capacity where they can begin to make changes within their own lives. A lot of the young people that we work with have a significant history of trauma, so they haven't had that capacity when they were children to actually make those changes of the difficult situations that they've been placed in without their choice. But now they're at a time where they can start making their own path.
My mum told me to treat people the way that I wanted to be treated, and if I'm a young person being homeless, living on the street, I want somebody else to help me. So I think that's my main reason. Every day is different, everyone is different. And I think one of the best things about being a youth worker is helping someone actualise their potential and allow them to kind of move forward with their lives. And it's about being an advocate and a support and just making sure someone's safe. I think empowering a young person to go from living on the streets, not having any income or a job and really not coping very well with life, to support and enable them to get accommodation and a job and be happy and a feeling like they're being part of the community.
I want to help them to access resources, find information and develop skills to be able to get to where they want to be as an adult, I guess.
But it's often a time where they're stuck between being a child and being an adult, so they need a bit of a hand to do it, but also to be given a variety of choices in how to do it. So not to hold their hand, but to walk alongside them and to give them various options and to a bit of education in how to do that is important, because I feel at that point that's when you can make a large change into supporting people for a long time in their life. Yeah.